Hello and thanks for joining us for Arts 24, and it's festival season, and we're starting with a trip to the world's biggest theatre festival in the south of France, Avignon. And our culture reporter, Olivia Salazar-Winspear, was at the Avignon Theatre Festival for opening weekend. Olivia, what has the 78th edition got in store for us?
Well, so much, Eve. Avignon is a real must for theatre lovers, whether they're amateurs or professional here in France. There's two sections broadly, the in, the official programme, and the off, which is the fringe. The official programme this year involves 35 shows which have been selected. A lot of them have been created specially for the festival, so a lot of world premieres there as well. One of them is from the festival's artistic director, Tiago Rodrigues, who's also a theatre director, of course. It's his vision of the Greek tragedy, which is focused on the heroine Hecuba. His version's called Hecuba, not Hecuba, and it explores the themes of motherhood, the importance of fighting for justice. It's brought up to date in the present day with a troupe of actors from the Comédie Française here in Paris, and it's staged there. I think you can see the setting in this beautiful quarry just outside of Avignon, so really quite evocative. And as I said, Rodrigues, he's the artistic director of the festival. He took over last year with the philosophy that he wants the event to be more popular, more accessible, and get away from this idea that theatre is this elitist world out of touch with our cultural realities. He's also a great defender of state-subsidised projects, state-subsidised art, because, of course, Avignon Theatre Festival receives millions of euros of public money, as well as lots of private sponsorship as well. And given the political context right now in France, that could be in jeopardy if there's far-right victories in the legislative elections. We asked him about that, about the festival's DNA, because it was created in 1947 in the wake of the Second World War. And here's what he had to say.
The position of the festival is quite clear. It's a festival founded with values, with founding ideas since 1947. So it's a democratic festival, it's Republican, it's progressist, anti-racist, ecological and feminist.
There we go. Well, the festival's artistic director isn't the only artist influenced by the political upheaval here in France at the moment. You also spoke to a choreographer about how arts are being affected.
Yeah, Boris Charmatz. He has 3 different shows at Avignon this year, and we got to see the first one. It's called Circles. Now, to create the show, he invited dozens of non-professional dancers to participate in workshops for 5 days, and they developed a contemporary dance show which was performed outside. You can see it there in a sports ground in Avignon. It really did feel like you were witnessing the creative process, almost a dress rehearsal, not a final polished performance. It was free to attend. You could just wander in and out as you pleased. And while they're doing it, Charmatz is live directing his dancers with a microphone, sort of wandering around like a charismatic line dancing caller. It feels a bit like a rave or a music festival because it's like outside. It's really joyful, really upbeat, really fun. But even if it is sort of light-hearted in spirit, there is this important message about inclusion, about creating contemporary pieces, reinventing the repertoire, because in the face of politicians who have a hard line on the arts and things like immigration, multiculturalism, Charmatz was very critical. He's French, but he works in Germany. He's a very European artist. He collaborates with dancers from around the world. Here's what he had to say about that.
Leonardo da Vinci, he was an Italian who emigrated to France, who was welcomed in and thus created the Mona Lisa and stayed here. There is no art without immigration or emigration. There's no art without openness, without different opinions. We are a welcoming country. That is the message that needs to continue in France.
So there we saw there's a lot more dance at the festival than in previous years in the official programme. And this year, the Spanish language is being celebrated at the festival. Last year, it was, of course, the English language. So there are artists from Spain and Latin America there.
Yeah, 11 of the performances in the official selection are actually being performed in Spanish with surtitles in French. Spanish director Angelica Lidl actually opened proceedings on Saturday evening in the Palais des Papes Court of Honour there. You can see the play. That's Avignon's most prestigious stage. It's a really beautiful setting. There's also an adaptation of Chekhov's The Seagull from a group of Peruvian and Spanish actors. There's a Catalan circus troupe as well. But one of the standout artists for me is Lola Arias. She's a young Argentinian playwright and director. She won the prestigious Ibsen Prize last year. She's developed this style of theatre which is very much rooted in real life. It's called documentary theatre. And her latest play is called Los Días Afuera, The Days Out There. And it involves women who've served prison sentences in Argentina, and they're adapting to life on the outside, adapting to freedom. She often does these pieces that are really rooted in social reality, really serious subject matter, but presented with a lot of joy, with singing and dancing. It's quite colourful. But there is, of course, a lot at stake when you're travelling with people who don't come from a traditional theatre background. Here's a bit more from Lola.
Making a piece like this is not only making an artistic project, but it's a social reinsertion process, because you have to actually make them go back to society in a way that they can have all the rights and all the possibilities that they lost over the years in prison. So it was a challenge in many, many ways.
So we filmed a full interview with Lola Arias, and you can catch that here on Arts 24 next week.
So that is all from the official programme, but there's a fringe section too, which is called The Off. Did you manage to capture anything from that huge selection?
Yeah, it is huge. The Off actually takes in around 1,600 shows. It's quite overwhelming. It takes over every venue in town. It's also where so many young actors and directors get their starts, actually. I'll just flag up one production. It's called Ariane, and it's directed by Thomas Gendrenou. It's about a rock star. It's about the pitfalls of celebrity, being put on a podium as a sort of music industry product, the emotional ordeal of being so successful at a young age, perhaps. The actress who plays Ariane, which is the title of the play, has to give a lot of herself physically and musically. We did meet her to speak about that. She said it was exhausting. Let's take a look at her on stage.
So many incredible looking things at this year's Avignon Theatre Festival. Thank you so much, Olivia, for giving us the highlights. Now, that was from the show Ariane, that's showing in the unofficial selection at the Avignon Theatre Festival, and the event runs until the 21st of July. Next then, to another iconic festival in the UK this time, and an all-female music metal band has made history at Glastonbury as the first Indonesian group ever to play at the iconic event. Voice of Baceprot joined the likes of Dua Lipa and Coldplay performing on the famous stages. And they may have millions of streams on YouTube today, but their path to success has been 10 years in the making, as Charlie James tells us.
They're young, they're women, they wear hijabs, and they rock. Voice of Baceprot, or VOB, is an Indonesian metal trio formed in a conservative region of West Java province. The band made their UK debut at this year's Glastonbury Festival with high-octane music and socially conscious lyrics that resonate with young people around the world.
It's simply because we care about our environment and what is happening around us. Therefore, we create songs based on what we see, hear, read, and experience ourselves.
Marsha's on vocals and guitar, Weedy on bass, and City on drums. All three are in their early 20s and met 10 years ago while still in Islamic junior high school. VOB tackles themes of female empowerment, the environment, and pacifism in English, Indonesian, and Sundanese, the language of the Western Java ethnic group. The word Baceprot comes from the Sundanese word for noisy, just like the music they play. But challenging gender stereotypes in a male-dominated society doesn't come easy.
We perform metal music. In our village, metal is considered as satanic music, not suitable for women, especially women wearing hijabs like us.
Their biggest hit addresses the critics head on. As VOB's star continues to rise, the ladies are letting the music speak for itself.
That report there on the groundbreaking Indonesian all-female band Voice of Baceprot. We're going to leave you then with the Paris Summer Festival that takes over the capital throughout July. Since its first edition in 1990, theatre, dance, circus and music performances take place at many well-known and unusual places in the capital. We're going to leave you with that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.